And I'm back in the YouTube groove. Yeah, I'm back in the YouTube groove.
You gotta know, that is the voice of an angel. I can't even make eye contact with you right now. Your voice is like a combination of Fergie and Jesus. But for a second, I think you took on the shape of a unicorn.
Hey guys, I'm so excited. Now that law school this last semester has finally ended, I can get back to more important things like making YouTube videos of this stinking old Land Rover. But we got way more cool stuff coming that you don't want to miss, so stick around to the end. We got 2 new channels coming and a new series coming. But first, let me show you how I solved the white smoke exhaust that was coming out of Fancy. You don't want to miss that. Coming up right here. Alright, so we're out here. I replaced the PCV valve, hoping that was what was causing the smoking. But it was still smoking a lot. Like so much it would make James Bond proud. Like so much smoke that cars behind me for like a block wouldn't follow me. Like too much smoke to drive. It dangerous smoke. So replaced the PCV valve and it, like I said, didn't do anything. Pulled a plug to see and it was covered in oil. And my neighbor was an engineer for one of the big automobile companies is pretty certain that it had a hole in a piston. That he was pretty certain he could hear it, and he'd been trained on that. But when I pulled the stuff out of the way to get to the plug, I noticed a little bit of oily residue coming. Looked like I could see a little film of oil on the throttle body. Well, okay. So then I decided I'll just pull the throttle body and see what's going on the intake. See if the intake is full of oil, right? So I took some pictures. I don't know if the GoPro's gonna catch it up. It's even hard to see in person. You gotta catch it at just the right angle. But this is crazy. There is literally puddles of oil inside the intake, which sounds really bad, but it's a good sign because it means that the smoke has to be from the PCV. That's gotta be what's bringing in all that oil into the combustion chamber. I mean, granted, there is a possibility that it could potentially be working its way back through the combustion chamber up to the intake, but I don't buy it. I don't buy that. I mean, that just seems, to get this much oil, that seems so unlikely. So I'm gonna see if you can see this here. I gotta shine this light in here and see if you can catch it. It's so hard to tell. It's so hard to see it because it's way back in there. But anyhow, yeah, I don't know if you're gonna catch that, but there's literally puddles of oil in there. I mean, there's got to be at least 1/4 liter of oil sitting in the intake right now, if not more. And so anyways, what I'm gonna do, I got my evacuation pump and I'm just gonna try to suck it all out with the evac pump and see how it goes, and then maybe run it for a little bit, and if it's still smoking, then I'm gonna have to pull the intake. But I'm hoping I don't have to pull the intake. That's more work than I want to do, but it still, this is good news because it means the pistons are hopefully all good and the rings are all good and everything, to the point to where it's not, you know, a bunch of oil coming up, getting into the combustion chamber. So we will see. So look at how ridiculous this is. I pulled 1/2 liter of oil out of the intake. Look at that. There's 1/2 liter right there. Okay, this ring is 1 liter. So clearly we're at 1/2 liter. That thing was empty when we started. Now, you're not supposed to have oil in your intake. I mean, with the PCV system, you get a little oil vapor that goes and burns off and all, but it should just be like maybe a very thin coating Okay, not oil puddled up in your intake, and especially not half a liter of oil. Okay, that's not good. But the good thing is it confirms that it at least confirms that PCB was bad. And hopefully that's all it is. I'm pretty certain, I feel pretty comfortable that that's all it is. So, and hopefully I don't need to pull the intake. So I'm gonna put it back together and see if I can burn that rest of the stuff off, or if it's still gonna be as smoking. Let's see. Since replacing the PCV valve, I've had the chance to put a few thousand miles on Fancy, driving down to California to deliver a Bronco transmission, and then again taking another trip to California to go hang out on the Oceano Dunes, cruise around on the beach, which was pretty fun. And all in all, the white smoke has not returned, and Fancy has been a great vehicle. And for those of you who stuck around to the end, the payoff is finally here. So let's get into the sneak peeks of what's to come while I play a little snippet of Shop Dog rolling through the car wash with me for your entertainment. So first and foremost, let's talk about the new series coming up. Look at this. Doesn't this look goofy? I got this big old camper shell on the back of my truck, but it's not as goofy as you think. No. It's going to be very cool because I sourced an 8-foot bed, right? Got this cool camper shell with the 2 slanted windows, the slider, high-rise, and high-rise glass. Okay. Now, whatever will we do? We're gonna make a camping trailer. It's gonna be a very cool off-road camping trailer. I'm gonna put in a water tank, scene lights, a shower. We're gonna put some shelves in below and to the sides, a generator, air conditioning, battery bank, solar panels, sun awning. It's gonna have it all. Should be a great series. Next on the list, which I think you guys are really gonna like, is a new channel that I'm gonna be starting. And I'm not really sure what to name it yet, so I'm not gonna slap a name on it. But basically what it is I have acquired exclusive access to a little over 1,000 acres of old logging property in southern Oregon, and I'm creating a separate channel for this project because this will probably take quite a few years actually. What we're gonna do is develop the property. We're gonna build some houses on it. We're gonna do a lot of cool things. The property is really cool. It has creeks, mountains, cool views, just a lot of interesting terrain. And we're going to develop the property in a way to where we can share it with the public and everybody can come enjoy it, take ATV tours, horseback riding tours. We're going to do some shooting range. We're going to make a shooting range on the property. Just a lot of really cool things. And it should produce a lot of really cool content. I'm also going to be starting some other channels. I'm starting a podcast channel, and it is called the Think Tank Army. So if you're interested in, if you're interested in deeper kind of pondering questions, like if you like the Joe Rogan podcast, if you are curious about the things Elon Musk is up to, curious about, crypto, blockchain, all those types of, emerging industries. There's a lot of things I think are really interesting topics I'm going to discuss. One thing that would be really interesting, a topic that I'll get into is, Elon Musk wants to colonize Mars. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean he's just like the king of Mars? And if not, what government on Earth has the right to tell him what he can and can't do on Mars, right? Who has jurisdiction over Mars? Or does anybody? Or should anybody? Is anybody claiming jurisdiction right now? It's so fascinating. That's just one thing.